Salzburg, Austria, a city famous for being the birthplace of Mozart, one of the greatest composers of all time, and the setting for the iconic musical and movie The Sound of Music. Between the rugged mountains and the Baroque architecture, there is charm, history, and beauty to be found on every street corner. We've got ourselves 48 hours to soak up the stunning atmosphere and the rich culture of Salzburg, and we have plans to learn how to make apple strudel. We're gonna stroll some palace gardens, and we're definitely gonna drink lots and lots of beer because the beer in Austria has been out of this world. So let us not waste any more time. Let's hit up Salzburg. Something I have absolutely loved about Austria are their gardens, and because we've come at the end of the spring season, there have been so many blossoms and blooms of all colors, and the way that they designed their gardens is, if you look at it from a bird's eye view, they look like the most magnificent outdoor carpets. All of the designs and the curvature of where they planted the flowers makes it look so fantastical and so whimsical, so it's been a real treat walking around here just looking at all the flowers.
Past hour and a half we have been sitting in the gardens, kind of like alternating. So Claire will take the camera, she'll go film some flowers, I'll sit and read my book, and we do that vice versa. But one of my favorite things about the garden here is that it overlooks the Hohensalzburg fortress off in the distance, and I just think it's perfectly laid out because all of these leading lines go straight to that fortress on the hilltop. And it really entices me to want to go up there because I'm just like, oh wow, that looks pretty cool. Maybe we should check it out. Then we can see the carpets of the garden from a different perspective.
While looking around for things to do in Salzburg, Chad stumbled across this very famous beer garden, and we were looking through what they offer, and it's essentially a self-serve place for beer. So you can bring up your own mug and you just, get that draft beer, fill up however much you want. And I think it's just a really cool vibe altogether. And we were also looking at the reviews, and someone had said that after drinking and eating at this place, they just weren't hungry for 3 days. So that's pretty impressive.
Sounds like good value.
Yeah, it does.
So whenever you see the shelf full of all of these mugs, it's very tempting to go large. Like I was like, okay, we could each get a small one. But as you hold it, I'm like, wow, this is already half a liter.
I know.
So I'm glad we went small. We'll see how we go.
Yeah,
Get some food.
Everyone else has like the big ones.
Yeah, everyone goes big here. So from my quick research on this place, apparently it used to be a monastery. It was built back in the 1600s. And it's now like this beer garden that lots of people visit. It has so many reviews online, and I can see why. It's such a cozy place.
Yeah.
Not cozy, but just like, I feel like I'm part of the community here.
Right. This place is massive. We need to show you the full spread of their outdoor patio.
Yeah.
I just skipped over to the concession stand, or at least that's what it felt like to me, and I ordered a little Wurstel, and it came with some sauerkraut. I had the choice between sauerkraut and potatoes, went with the sauerkraut, and then she asked what kind of mustard do you want, sweet or spicy? And I don't know the kind of mustard that we've been eating this whole time, like the sharp mustard, so I just went with spicy because it sounded like it might be more similar to it, but let's see if I made the right decision. All right, sauerkraut, Wurstel, and then I have the mustard. Wow. That sauerkraut is really, really good. I really like that sauerkraut.
It looks like way more fine than anything we've had so far. It's like
That
shredded.
might be like one of the best sauerkraut sides I've ever had. Oh,
Let me try.
the sauerkraut.
Ooh.
It's really good, right?
I feel like I'm in the medieval times. Before we leave, we wanted to explore the beer hall, which is so cool. So if you sit indoors, it has like this whole Austrian theme going on. And this is where I assume before COVID, you could fill up your own beer. But now they do it for you.
Ooh la la.
Ah.
We have wandered over to Cafe Mozart, and Chad already got himself an Einschweiner, so his little double shot espresso with whipped cream, and we got 2 desserts today. So the very first one that we got is Topfenstrudel, which is a cheese strudel. I had 2 options. I could either get it with vanilla sauce or raspberry sauce, and the server highly recommended the raspberry sauce. I do think the raspberry was the right choice, because the cheese strudel has, of course, that little savory, cheesy taste, and then the berries are that little hit of sweet and tartness. So it's the best of all 3 worlds. It's so jiggly. So this is the Salisbury Knockerl, and of course it's famous here in Salzburg, and those 3 peaks that you see represent 3 mountains in Salzburg, and it's made with egg whites. It's very, very fluffy, and I just want to poke it, honestly. I'm very tempted. It feels like flesh,
Oh wow.
right?
It's actually more substantial than I expected.
It doesn't deflate. Feeling it, it feels very much like a soft baby's butt. And I am eager to eat it. I can't get over the texture. Ooh.
Gotta get some of this raspberry.
So there were raspberries on the bottom, so we got a little bit of that as well.
Interesting.
It's really interesting.
It's like eggy, an eggy
Yeah.
dessert,
It is.
like an egg jello,
Yeah.
but foamy.
Oh, the texture is very similar to like a marshmallow.
Oh yeah.
The thing is, when they bring it out, it's so large, and you think that you might not be able to finish it, but then you realize a lot of it is just air.
Yeah.
So far, Salzburg feels like a perfect mix of both Innsbruck and Vienna. And because we have already been to both of those, we can kind of, compare all 3 cities. Yeah,
Yeah.
it has like the mountains and the Baroque architecture that Innsbruck had to offer.
The nature.
Yeah. And it also has like that hustle and bustle that Vienna had, and also a little bit of the
Yeah,
architecture.
and also the river that runs. Well, all cities, I guess,
Yeah.
have a river that run through it.
Right, and it's all the same beautiful green color.
Yeah.
I was actually asking Chad, I'm like, is it the same river? But no, it's like 3 completely different rivers.
Yeah, but they all have that same color. It's
Yeah,
really interesting.
It feels so cohesive.
Yeah.
Austria's on like the
Aesthetic.
same aesthetic. Yeah.
Yeah. But for the past 30 minutes or so, we've been sitting right by the water, just reading our books and watching the sunset on the castle in the distance.
Now that the sun has dipped over the horizon, everything just has this film of purple, and it is so, so beautiful, and it's been very, very peaceful today. just watched a very lovely demonstration. I'm honestly a little bit nervous to make it, but also excited. We're gonna start with making the filling for the apple strudel. So we have a nice big bowl of sliced apples. I've got some raisins and sugar. I'm gonna put in my little 2 tablespoons of raisins. I'm gonna do 2 tablespoons of sugar. And then my favorite part, you gotta put 3 spanks of cinnamon into the bowl.
It's like a cauldron.
Yes, time to mixy mixy.
So we're gonna put our knuckles underneath at the same time, like this. And then we'll pick it up and pass it on to the person to our left and just keep it moving, basically.
So the way to check to see if your dough is thin enough, you're supposed to be able to read a newspaper under it, but since we don't have that, we're just looking over to see if we can see the check of the tablecloth, and you can definitely see it.
That was such a fun class. It was actually done in a 600-year-old cave. And I think to work off the strudel, we have decided we're gonna hike up, try to go to the fortress. We might not go inside, but we're gonna look over the city of Salzburg.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be raining all our time here in Salzburg. As you can see, it's another sunny day.
Yes.
And we haven't hit a single rainy day here in Austria, and I'm just mind blown because apparently it's been raining like crazy.
Yeah.
And I'm just so grateful that we have sunshine. Previously in Innsbruck, I had mentioned that The Sound of Music was and is one of my all-time favorite movies. And growing up, I actually had it on VHS, so I could watch the movie whenever I wanted. And I remember me learning how to play Do, Re, Mi, and Edelweiss on the piano. So it was definitely a big part of my childhood. And coming to Austria this time around, it was just really cool to immerse myself in all the things that I had experienced through the movie as a kid. But to be able to do it in real life has been such a dream come true for me. And it really is just, you know, church bells ringing off in the distance, birds singing everywhere you go, and mountains just soaring off into the sky. So this place has been pure magic, and I'm just really grateful that I was able to come here.
Claire and I have gotten into a bit of a habit of bringing our books and reading on benches, and I think Claire has officially gotten to a new level of comfortable because she now takes her shoes off when we're sitting at a bench out in public.
I love it. So cute.
Very, very comfortable. I have been living for these breaks where we sit on the benches and just read because it gives us a moment to slow down, especially when we're in a bigger city, and to just take in the surroundings and the ambiance and listen to the birds.
Yeah, speaking of ambiance.
This evening, I got us a reservation at a very special restaurant. It's said to be one of the oldest restaurants in all of Central Europe. And just looking through their website and, all the reviews, the interior looks very, very well designed and very colorful. So that's where we're walking to right now. We've definitely digested all of that strudel, all of that knockerl, and we're ready to eat some more Austrian food. Whoa, 803 AD. This place is so chic. It has the coolest decorations, like there's fur on the seats, there are little blankets in case you get cold, and everything looks so modern but a little bit bohemian and definitely just very bold altogether. Tonight is our very first night in Austria where we're not drinking beer. We actually got some of their specialty cocktails. I decided to get the Everybody's Darling, that's the name of it, and I just liked it because the name was so cute. And then Chad got a cocktail very similar to the Hugo, which we've noticed a lot of locals drinking. And then we also got ourselves a little cheese platter. Austria is of course known for delicious cheese, so I had to give it a try. And this is honestly our first time trying cheese in Austria, so we're in for a treat.
I can already tell Claire loves the colors on this plate.
I know, everything in here is so vibrant and colorful, and it makes me so happy. I love the flowers they've sprinkled across and just the seeds and the little garnishes. For my entree this evening, I decided to get an Austrian ribeye steak, and what was really cool was when she brought it to the table, she had like extra little bowls, and then she would serve my plate with the veggies that came with the dish. And they did the exact same thing for Chad. He got the Tafelspitz, which is that very famous Austrian boiled beef, and it was just so cool like watching her plate it because she did it so quick and it was just so beautifully presented at the end.
If I had to choose one word to describe that place, I would probably say immersive. What would you say? Putting you on the spot.
Yeah, you are putting me on the spot. I would probably choose bold.
Bold. Yeah, that's a good one as well. Especially after going to all of these traditional restaurants in Austria with like the same green, the same chairs. It was very interesting to go to that place, and it's just totally different.
And what I did really like is even though it felt very modern, they still had classics on the menu. They had the Wiener Schnitzel, they had Tafelspitz. So like if you did want to still have a little taste of the Austrian cuisine, you definitely could.
And they did it well. Like, oh my gosh, it was delicious. Thank you all for joining us these past 2 days in Salzburg. We actually have one more video here in Austria before we move on to our next country. And if you're interested in seeing that, as well as joining us as we travel to 50 countries around the world, then hit subscribe. And with that, we'll see you guys next time.